Hello dear children, welcome back to chemistry class. Today we are going to begin with the third chapter, that is matter. So in this class we are going to see what is matter. We see a lot of things there around us, isn't it? Yes. Now as you look into this picture, we find that there are a lot of things that are there around us. It can either be a table, a chair, it can be a pencil, a hat, a skateboard, a bicycle, a computer, an apple, a tree house, likewise a drink like a juice or a hot chocolate drink or even milk, or it can be water that we see in pool, rain, it can be the wind that comes from fan or the steam that comes from an iron box, fog, or it can even be air that we breathe around. Likewise, there are many objects that are there present around us. All these objects are made up of matter. So what exactly is a matter? Any object, if it can be perceived by the senses and if it occupies space and if it has a mass, then we call it as a matter. Let's take an example of a matter. Say a book. Now let us see if that book satisfies these two criteria. Can a book be perceived by the senses? Yes, it can be perceived by the sense of touch. Also, does it occupy a space? Yes, you take a book and you keep it on a table. You find that it needs a space to be there on the table, which means it occupies space. Likewise, you take a book and you keep it inside your school bag. You feel that it is little heavy. You take more books and you keep on adding it into your school bag. What do you feel? We feel that it has become more heavier. This means that the object book has got mass. So here we have seen that the object book, it can be perceived by the senses, it occupies a space, and also it has a mass. Therefore, we say that it is a matter. Always remember that a matter can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. I have shared here an experimental video which helps you to understand why matter can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. Matter that is made up of one kind of particles are called substances. There are different kinds of matter there around us, isn't it? Yes. Then how do we distinguish one matter from another? The physical and chemical properties of matter will help us to distinguish one matter from another. Now let us see what are those physical properties and chemical properties. Properties like color, odor, solubility, melting point and boiling point are some of the physical properties which helps us to distinguish one kind of matter from another. Different substances have different color, isn't it? Yes, so this physical property will help us to distinguish one matter from another. Likewise, different substances have different smell or odor. Therefore, this property, odor, will help us to distinguish one matter from another. Likewise, some of the substances are soluble in water, while some other substances are not soluble in water, but they are soluble in some other solvents. Therefore, this property solubility will help us to distinguish one matter from another. Likewise, melting point and boiling point. Different substances show different melting point and boiling point. So this physical property, melting point and boiling point, will help us to distinguish one matter from another. Chemical properties will also help us to distinguish one kind of matter from another. Chemical properties like chemical reactions, wherein different substances will react in a different way with various chemicals. So, physical properties and chemical properties will help us to distinguish one kind of matter from another. There are three important states in which a matter can exist. So, the three main states of matter are solid state, liquid state, and gaseous state. So, a matter can exist either in the solid form, a liquid form, or in a gaseous form. We have already learned that anything that can be perceived by senses, anything that has mass or that occupies space is called a matter. We know that solids and liquids, they have mass, they occupy space, and they can be perceived by senses. But what about gas? Is that a form of matter? Or do you think that it can be perceived by senses? Or it occupies mass or it has space? Yes, gases will also occupy space, it has mass and it can be perceived by senses. Now we are going to see the proof of this with various experiments that we will learn in our coming classes.